Hello, everybody. Hey, hey. Welcome to the third biannual event of the Sacred Blueprint for Our New Earth interview series. We've got hundreds of people joining from different corners of the globe to hear from the world's leading earth energy experts. I am Aisha Rose Melodie Hassan, and I will be your host for this series. I am an architect, alchemical healer, and the creator of the Sacred Blueprint, a cutting edge vessel of courses and programs for property owners and designers to birth their dream sanctuaries through this modality that bridges spiritual wisdom and architecture. This series is a response to an urgent call I've been hearing on really high volume from Gaia, our Mother Earth, and the nature spirits. It's about exploring what's possible when we partner with the wisdom of nature to design and build healing sanctuaries with resilient and abundant foundations for our future. Whether these sanctuaries are your homes or your gardens or communities you're planning or even your cities, the question is, how can we partner with nature and the spirit of the land to develop conscious and practical solutions? Our phenomenal circle of earth energy experts are going to answer this question by sharing their years of experience and knowledge teaching and designing with earth energies. So before moving on, I'd love to thank Geometric Models for aligning with the impulse of the Sacred Blueprint and sponsoring this event. It is such an honor to collaborate with this superb research group who's dedicated to investigating Mother Nature's sacred geometries. If you're interested in sacred geometry, modeling, and design, then don't forget to check out their website at www.geometricmodels.com for educational tools. So before I introduce our first guest, we are opening up the live Q&A at the end of the talk. We're aiming for, about 45 minutes, 50 minutes of talk time, and then we'll open up the bonus Q&A for you. The Q&A button is on the bottom right-hand bar of the Zoom bar, and all you need to do is click on it and type your question out for our guest. We do ask you refrain from sending your questions until the end, and don't forget, the Q&A is not going to be part of the limited time recordings, so make sure you join live every day to get some one-on-one time with our special guests. So our first guest, she is an integrative architect who's based in Milan and Dubai. And she has years of experience working in various firms and on various scales of projects in architecture, in the architecture field. And she is now leading a new business that is weaving in her expertise and knowledge in classical feng shui, land energy sciences, building biology, EMF mitigation, and I love what she says here. She uses nature as a guiding compass to unlock natural frequencies that transform physical environments, enhancing the optimal health and well-being of our clients. I'm so thrilled to welcome Valentina Cereda.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, Valentina.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. I'm still unable to start the video, so maybe
Oh,
Christy
are you?
can
Okay.
do, yes, what was done
Let's
before.
wait for her video to go on then.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead and start your video now.
Perfect. Yes.
Okay, that was Christy,
Hello.
our assistant. Yay! Hi, Valentina, welcome. It's so
Thank
great to
you.
have you
Thank
on
you.
this series. Yeah,
Thanks.
welcome.
I'm very happy
Yeah.
to be here. Thank you so much.
Oh, wonderful. So, integrative architect, I love this term. I'm curious. I did give a bit brief intro about what you do, but I know it's a lot deeper than that. Can you tell us and share what this means and what you're doing that is different than most architects?
Yes, so I think it would be nice to start with how I decided to start Energy and Space, which is my business, my company, and my architectural practice. The reason I decided to integrate other disciplines with architecture principles is simply because I was working for many years for companies like any other architect, and there was something in the design process that I found completely disconnected from, from the earth, from nature. What we're doing, we were just, putting cement blocks on the earth without, any idea of what's happening to the land, and creating these blocks that are still completely separating us from what is outside. And also, every time I would deliver a project, and when I used to work for companies, like there were so many because we were overloaded with clients and projects to design and deliver. During the site construction until the project handover, so when we finally bring our client, open the doors, like, here you go, this is your new space, and you open, and there is that smell of something toxic in the space that, it's a new space that we created, and of course it looks beautiful, it functions well, it meets all the requirements, but then this smell, it just made me think project after project, like, why are we doing things in this way? And
Mm.
I started researching. On the other hand, I started thinking how good we feel while we are in nature. So, well-being, wellness is a concept that can differ from person to person. People would feel well in certain environments than others, but in nature, we can all agree we all feel amazing,
Yeah.
and we have that sense of, wholeness. We just feel content, and it's this type of feeling that you can't even explain in words, because it's just a goosebump, it's just that, wholeness. And that's when I realized I wanted to completely change the way we as architects design and build as well, to align more with nature, because that's when we feel good, we respect the environment, at the same time we respect our health, and we can connect to what is our true nature. We all feel home when we are in
Mm.
nature. And that's when I started my journey now 10 years ago, and I started traveling. I was very lucky because I could travel in many places in the world to learn different disciplines. So I learned Feng Shui, and then I learned land energy sciences through different courses. And then building biology, which is really important because we, ancient sciences, to me, they are essential to really optimize health and well-being in our physical environments. But we live also in the world today, which is a highly polluted world. So we need to be able to deal with what are the toxins, and because each toxins and each chemical that we put in our walls, in our environment, it comes with frequencies that are distorted, that are man-made, and these frequencies, they interfere with the natural frequencies.
Mm.
So it's very important that I integrated building biology, to use natural materials as much as possible, and learn how to read the ingredients of products, to truly understand, are they really natural? Are they really clean? Are they healthy? Because even what's out there is not always true. In terms of, there's a lot of marketing around products.
Yeah.
And then, of course, electromagnetic fields, which is, just in the past 5 years, the levels of radiations from phone towers, our technology have increased so much, but we cannot hear them, we cannot touch them or feel them or nothing. So we just think they don't exist, but these are overwhelming for our bodies. So this is all of the things I integrate, and that's what I found. I'm sure there is many other ways to do it, but this is how I was led to find a way to integrate architectural principles to create environments that are in alignment with nature, so that we can achieve as much as possible that sense of well-being and that breathing. And even when you are inside an environment that is man-made, it can still be aligned.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah, no, this is an amazing story. When for the participants who aren't familiar with building biology and what you mean by also the energetic side of that, where, unhealthy materials hold a frequency, the radiation, EMF radiation holds a frequency and that it has an
Yeah.
impact on our bodies. What have you seen over time through your experience working on so many scales of projects? Like, what does it do to us when we're not awake and when we don't align um, our bodies with our environments, with our spaces, and that our spaces are not connected to nature? Like, what actually happens to our body?
Well, when it comes to electromagnetic fields perspective, but also building biology, it's all the same discipline. Our cells are affected by the energy and the frequencies of these toxins, because our cells, they have a membrane that protect each cell from what's inside and what's outside, and how these proteins, calcium, everything needs to be imbalanced in our body. When there is an attack of frequencies, radiations, toxins that are man-made, our cells starts being depleted. So in specific EMF, they slowly keep like knocking at the door of the membranes of our cells, and they slowly break it, they damage it. So then cells starts having imbalances between what's inside and what's outside. Like calcium is one of the most common imbalances when the membrane of the cells is broken. And that leads to inflammation and free radicals in the body. So we start producing and having more free radicals, and that can lead, depending on each person's health history, immune system, and general stress levels, environment they live in, it leads to symptoms that can go from fatigue, headaches, insomnia, to more severe disease like cancer, leukemia, and autoimmune diseases. And specifically for people, what I've noticed a lot that have mold mycotoxins in their body, so they are affected by mold spores and mycotoxins. EMF radiations, they act as like when you put sugar on yeast, the yeast, rises.
Rises, right? It
Yeah,
eats it, right?
exactly. So EMF, they they make every condition that we have worse. And for mold sensitivity and mycotoxins is one of the things. So there is thousands of health effects, and it depends also on many aspects of of your personal history and environment you were raised in and you're living in now, and so on. So this is one of the, and then of course, all of this also affects our mind, our mood. It affects how we can, feel that sense of well-being and feel connected when we are so overwhelmed with, chaos of frequencies. It's a struggle for everyone to just, feel grounded, because you want to, you feel always in chaos somehow.
even before you got into this the energetic realm, were you noticing that you were sensitive to these energies prior?
So the first thing I noticed that my body was really reacting to is actually stress. So before even talking about the EMF, and so I had to, and I'm sure this affects many people, but the first step was I understood that I was, working too much. I was having a very stressful life, and that wasn't allowing my body and my spirit to
Any
rise.
other architects out there who know exactly what she's talking about? It's like my story. Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And then as I, started becoming aware of the environment and frequencies, I started noticing differences in sleeping patterns, in headaches and insomnias,
Mm.
in different settings, like even when I travel, when I go to hotels, because once I was completely detoxified from the stress, I was like, other things started coming up. Like, why is it that I'm not sleeping well? Why is it that I'm tired this particular period? Or why I'm reacting
Yeah,
in this way in this hotel? And then I started noticing things because before,
yeah,
when you have too much stress, other things just, you don't even think about it.
yeah, yeah. Um, I've seen you use these gadgets and measuring devices, and something that
Yeah,
you
all the
hold in your
instruments.
hand when you're out on the land. I'm so curious about these tools and curious how you read these energies and how you make adjustments with your clients. You know, how do you work with your clients to balance their spaces? So yeah, how do you
Yeah,
first determine what is not seen, right? And
yeah.
then how are you working with
Okay.
your clients in the
So there are different instruments that I use. So one is the Feng Shui compass. It's called Luopan, and it's a compass that determines the south, north, east, all directions, but it's very precise. You have to look at the degrees that you're actually measuring. And based on these measurements, then I apply formulas, Feng Shui formulas that determine the energy patterns of each sector of a land, of a space, or anything. Then I use the dowsing rods or pendulums, which are pendulums that I actually got when I studied biogeometry. And this is a part of where I've learned how to dowse. And this, I use them to assess the energy of the land. So when I work on a piece of land, or even on an existing environment, I would determine what is the quality of the land, and this works through resonance. So these devices are considered like an extension of our energy, and often I use also my body to enter into resonance with these energies, and then determining, if there is any stress, what is it, what needs to be done to improve the quality of the land and to connect whatever we're building to it, so that the new building, it's an extension of this energy rather than like a energy blockage, like just placing something on top. The main concept is that the earth has energy grids like we do, like we have our meridians. The earth has its own energy grids, and they're also exposed to stress like we do, from construction sites, from water, underground streams. And when we assess the land, we want to determine where are these points, what they are, and work with, what is that spirit of land, you can call it, or that, energy that represents the land in that spot, and kind of create something that extends this energy, works with it rather than against it, which is what we do today. And then I have the less nice instruments because they look very scientific, but these are the MF meters. So when I did a photo shoot for my company, I had to. The photographer was telling me, like, do we really need to show these instruments?
Not
They
very
don't look
romantic,
very
is it?
pretty.
Yeah.
So, but these are like, very professional EMF meters, and they detect different EMF, radio
Yeah.
frequencies, electric, magnetic fields, dirty
So
electricity.
important.
Yeah, so by measuring like a plot of land, different areas, then I would know which area has the highest EMF, and then I can know how to design and how to shield, if needed, certain areas of the building or whatever we're doing there. So these are the main things. And then when I do the analysis from all different perspectives, then I overlay all the layers of the assessment, and that's how the design is built. Basically, it's created from alignment with nature, alignment with the life force, the T that is determined with Feng Shui, and then of course using natural materials as much as we can, and protecting from outside EMF, because whatever we design, we can control it. So whatever we're designing inside, we control it working with the mechanical, electrical engineers. But whatever is outside, we have no control. So we need to work and kind of future-proof even the building if needed in most areas. Yeah. So that's how it's done. Is it?
Yeah.
So it's a lot of information, but it's
Yeah, no, there's so many nuggets and pieces that I want to ask questions about. How do you work with then this method also with your clients then, if they have a vision for something, or do you have any stories, success stories of working with any specific clients with, maybe existing houses or new houses? What transformed for them? That's what I'm interested in also
yeah,
hearing about. Like, what
yeah.
was the journey like for them?
Yeah, so well, the important thing to mention is that, so this, what I do, it's quite niche. So it's not, so many people are not
Not
even
that many
aware.
people doing it, right?
So,
Yeah.
so clients that come to me, they have an interest and they have a certain awareness. So it's a bit easier to take them on the journey. So because I'm not convincing them, but they kind of
Right.
understand or have an awareness at least. So they follow and I explain the process. So basically one example, I mean, we do different type of projects. So one example, which is a new build. It's a very nice villa in Cyprus, where we have the client contacted me to work alongside their architect. So in that project, I wasn't the architect, I was a consultant to
Yeah.
align
Yeah.
everything. What we did, so I flew to Cyprus and we went to see the land. So I did all the assessment of the land. And the nice thing was that we did what you can call ceremony, or maybe you can call it just a moment of connection with the land, with the clients as well, which was really nice, so that they kind of realize that they're actually building on a piece of land that is alive, and they connected to that, which was nice. And so after that, all the assessment was done. We also determined one area where there was water under, so that later they could dig a well and extract water to use for irrigation and for the
Beautiful.
garden.
Yeah.
So after that assessment was done, I put together all the report and we met with their architects to review the floor plan. So they had a sketch. So when you mentioned, your clients have requirements, they have a vision, they want
Right.
something in
Exactly.
a specific way. So everything can be adapted to any vision, so we review the floor plan, which includes the requirements and the type of look of the house that they want, and then we start, kind of threading in all the layers and adjusting maybe, you know, the entrance, adjusting the
Yeah,
spaces,
entrances are
adjusting,
big, right? Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
entrances, the water locations, the construction methods, the MEP strategy. So as the design developed, the material. So we kind of work with the architect in that case to simply um, align everything, and everything that we recommended is, you know, it's because it's very logical for the architect as well. So things were kind of flowing in a in
Oh,
a
so he was, or he or she was receiving the input quite well. Is that what you're saying? It felt,
yeah.
yeah.
They
Okay.
yeah, they were
Curious
open
about that,
to.
like what he or she thought about it. Yeah, the process.
Yeah, well, it's was completely new to him. So to be honest, at the beginning, he was very skeptical about
Okay,
everything.
yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah, this is what I want.
being
Something
very
we
honest,
face a
very,
lot. Yeah.
yeah, very skeptical. But then once we started working together, and he realized that I wasn't there to destroy his design
Yeah.
or change everything that he was
It's
doing,
so typical.
then it's, you know, we work together, and it everything kind of, you know, made sense. And now the project is still ongoing, and it will start construction soon. And yeah, it's but yeah, it's because it's such a new, a different approach.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every time, you know, we work with architects, it can be challenging, but I mean, um, you know, it's not about, it's about working together. So that's what, you
Yeah.
know, we try to tell them. It's not about changing what they've done,
Yeah.
or, you know, taking their role. It's really not about that. It's much, much easier in a way when we do the project from a design perspective as well,
Yeah. Yeah. Then
because
it's
then we
really
have
working whole.
full,
Yeah.
yeah, full control, and it's yeah, it's a bit different. So this is one thing, and other things that we do also assessments in people houses or offices. You know, when someone is moving in and they're not feeling well, they cannot sleep. So one of my clients, one example was, she moved into a house. She's a very you know, healthy person, but she
Okay.
couldn't sleep. So, and actually, I have a few clients like that. And we did the assessment of EMF, the arrangement of the room, geopathic stress, and after implementing and adjusting the room, implementing shielding, mitigation strategies, and geopathic stress remedies as well, then that's when, you know, the client was able to sleep and feel better.
Mm,
So many of my clients actually noticed the difference. So there are different aspects to, you know, we do projects, but we also do environmental assessments, residential audits, where we
yeah.
assess the health of that space and how it can be improved to improve people's health and sleeping, anything really.
It's amazing. I'm so interested at how you work with these pieces, like just how do you adjust and align, and so when you talk about these strategies, a lot of it comes from your knowledge in building biology. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Or
so that
also
is
what?
one,
Yeah.
yeah, that is one
Yeah.
aspect, is building biology, and I mean, of course, feng shui and
Yeah.
all the land energy. It's like all together. But yeah, for example, to be able to shield a room, you need
Right.
to know. I mean, absolutely, it's important to know, because there's so many things behind shielding a room. Like, for example, when there is a phone tower outside someone's bedroom and you want to shield it, if you don't have the correct meters to measure the exact EMF levels, you might end up over shielding the room or shielding it too little. Because if you cannot measure, you know, there's many shielding products like paint, films, fabrics, And what happens is that if you don't shield in the right way, you might create like a cage inside where frequencies starts bouncing. So it can
Oh,
make it
okay. It
worse.
becomes reflective then.
It becomes reflective. Or if you don't shield enough, then you might, because if you're working in a house where you have a phone tower which is running at 8 gigahertz, for example, instead of this type of frequencies. In other houses, you might have a phone tower that is running at 2 gigahertz. So you need to use the correct materials that are able to shield these type of intensities. Because if you use something, a type of fabric that it performs very low when the intensity is higher, then you're just making your client wasting money, and then they wouldn't notice much difference. So there's a lot of layers. That's why electromagnetic fields, which is also quite a new field, it's important that people do a proper assessment before deciding to buy. Because many of my clients, they went and bought stuff before calling me. They did the shielding, or they talked to someone that told them that they knew how to do it, and then it was a complete waste of money, and also they didn't feel really well.
Okay. It
Let's
didn't
say. So
actually
it's a
work
lot
really.
of
So.
it's a lot of things to consider when it comes to EMF. Also, that's just one aspect.
Yeah, yeah. And so for design then, as an architect, like like what you work with commercial spaces, people's workspaces, houses. Um, you tap into these natural. What was it? Um, you use nature as a guiding compass to unlock natural frequencies. Um, actually going back to what you originally talked about, when you were tapping into the energetics of each property, into the spirit of the property, you said something like the energy, growing the design and the form out, like to match and to align with that specific frequency. When you go out onto different properties, can you sense how one property has a different energetics opposed to another, and like are there like different qualities, or are you looking for like one main healthy energy? That's one piece. And then also, what if that piece of land is not feeling well, or like what if there are all kinds of, like what if there's trauma or a history there or something that went off? Do you deal with those first, or like how does it work? So it's kind of two questions. Yeah.
So when it comes to the different properties, it all depends on um, what is the objective or the scope, or why am I there at first. So when a client call me, so it's not for me that I enter a space and I feel things. I do my assessment and I have my process. And so some properties, yes, maybe have more underground water, which is emitting things, energies in specific point of the house. Others might have other issues. So it really it depends on when I do the assessment and see what's happening and how this is affecting whoever is living there or whatever I need to do there. But when it comes to each assessment I do is different. So when I check on a land, and sometimes, for example, I do the assessment of the energy grids and I assess where are the best areas energetically and where are the lowest. And once I figure that out, if there is any, I don't know, traumas with the land or any issues like that, then I would tackle it, like depending on the project, when it's the right time to do it. So it's not something that I do immediately. Sometimes I go back and I do something and insert some remedies inside the land to balance the energies. Sometimes I do it remotely. I have a printout of the map and
Okay,
I
so you
work,
do remote work. Okay. Yeah.
yeah, I do it remotely. Uh, each land is really different. So now I'm
Yeah.
working with a developer to build a residential building. And for example, for that land, which is now empty, I will need to go back before they start construction and fix some remedies that we're gonna remove when they start construction and then embedded them inside the foundations.
Okay.
But there is no one land energy audit that is the same as others for some reasons.
Mhm.
Every
Yeah.
time is a new process. So yeah, it really
Yeah.
depends, but that's
I feel
generally
like
how.
there's, yeah. And it's such a great opportunity for architects, designers to really tap into that energetic and frequency so that it inspires what they're doing, so that it's like it really, what you're saying, the guiding compass, instead of, going off some, being in your office separate from the property. Actually, I've even seen so many in my past experiences of working in firms or running my own practice, both working with clients and other architects, even builders, where people just, they go out to the land and they think that they've connected with it. They're just like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll put it there. We'll do this. They've already have preconceived ideas and decisions
Yeah,
before they even go there. And they're like, okay, can we fit it there? Basically, yeah. And then,
yeah,
really they're just looking down and not connecting. And I think it's such a great opportunity for the architects of the future to, like what you're doing, really listen to nature and use her, as a guiding
yeah,
compass. And in every situation, then a new form, a new design, a new opportunity will show up
yeah,
for the building's form and materials. And yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah, it's amazing. So, Valentina, you're just thinking about architects and, how you're bridging this, all this amazing, integrating, more so integrating all of this ancient wisdom, right? Ancient sciences with a contemporary way of designing. What do you see or feel or vision for future architecture? What do you see as possible?
Well, I hope that future architecture will be just, based on nature and just to really being a complete extension of nature, of the natural environment. Um, I would love to see all buildings to, be built naturally again. Like, I would love to see people to just slow down and, and not building a house as fast as possible, but as consciously
Yeah.
as possible,
Mm.
completely reverse the process of architecture and construction to really create buildings that are part of nature and are, part of us. And it's all possible. It's definitely, it's all possible. It's just to really change the mindset and the way I think we live.
Yeah.
That's what yeah, that's what I envision. I mean, that's at least what I'm doing. That's my objective
Yeah. Yeah. You're really
in my
planting the seeds.
in my
Like that
little.
architect you started with, right? He was skeptical and now, he sees it like it. Yeah. I interrupted you there. Yeah. Go
No, no,
ahead.
I was just saying it's just in my this is what I'm doing in my capacity, because as we spoke before, there are not many people that are aware that this exists. and that this can be done, you know, architecture can be done in a different way. And so it's a very, very small community. I mean, here where I live, it's very, very, very small. I mean, actually almost non-existent. There is not such a community. But I
Well,
am
maybe there are
planning to.
people right now listening that are part of your community, but you don't know it. So,
Yeah, no, I'm sure, but the ones that I know,
yeah.
very few, but I'm planning to create a community to start
Oh,
sharing more, yeah,
oh, I love
in the
that.
future, like with some, I don't know, yeah, I don't know yet what, but in the future,
Yeah, like maybe
it will
educational
come.
tools. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know.
we
Now
need
it's
it. We need it. Yeah.
yeah, now it's very busy with projects and you know with the work. So I'm focusing on that, and maybe in the future I will
Yeah.
work
Yeah.
on more.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
we excitedly wait for it. My next question was about what you envision as the sacred blueprint, but I feel like you've already answered a lot of that. But is there any words that you'd like to share around what comes to you when you vision the sacred blueprint for our new Earth?
I mean, beside what I mentioned is just about, you know, when I think of a sacred and blueprint, I think of the sacred forms of nature and the
Mm,
expressions of nature, and blueprint is really about the you know the forms, the geometry, and everything that comes with nature. So this is what I think it would be ideal to to
yeah,
follow for
yeah.
any designs. So yeah.
Well, I really appreciate your contribution to making this sacred blueprint happen. Uh,
Thank
one
you.
project at a time. And I really look forward to how you expand and grow and what you'll be creating in these next years and expanding your community in wherever that is, whether it's Dubai, Milan, the entire world internationally.
Yeah,
Um, Anything
thank
you'd like to
you.
share with our participants about what you're up to? How can they get in touch with you if they, I mean, I'm excited to hear that you do uh, um, remote work. So you do, I'm assuming you do
Yeah,
map dowsing and
yeah,
all of this work. So yeah,
yeah.
how can we get in touch with you?
So well, the I went through a brand enhancement, so
Okay.
I will be having my website ready on Friday, actually, this
Oh,
coming
nice. Perfect
Friday.
timing.
So my website is energyspace.org.
Yeah, and
Uh,
Christie's c-
oh
I
yeah,
think
and
she
she has, yeah,
shared
that's
your
correct.
links
Yeah,
here. Perfect.
yeah, these are my
So
links on
everyone check the
Instagram.
chat. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, you can reach out on to my website or Instagram or my phone number. It's in any way is fine, and yeah, and then what I'm up to. Um, I mean, I don't know where do I start.
Sounds like
We
you're
have
busy.
I'm thinking, well, no, very exciting, like, yeah, super exciting projects because I'm working with, oh, yes, this is the most exciting. Well, no, I don't want to say the
Okay.
most. They're all very exciting, but this is, it came through a few days ago. And it's actually a school in Dubai that is
Oh,
looking, the owner wants to become a completely EMF free room.
oh,
So
that's so good.
no electromagnetic fields. And so that is the existing nursery. And also they are building a new school completely with natural materials.
Oh, that's
And
perfect.
I'll be supporting them with all of that. So that's a big master plan with a lot of lovely,
Oh, perfect. Like different
um,
buildings and stuff.
yeah, different buildings, natural materials, aligned with the land, aligned with the life force, of course, EMF free. And this is like, I mean, for me to work with schools is one of the things that I always wanted to do, because I feel like children, you know, they need the healthiest environments, and especially in this region, because of the weather and because of the nature here, kids have less contact with nature when compared to other countries, like maybe in Europe
Mhm.
or in the US.
Are there
And
a lot of apartment buildings where you're living? Of course, yeah. Why? I mean, I'm asking that. It's Dubai. Of course, there's lots of
yeah,
towers.
no,
Yeah.
yeah, that's every, but I'm talking about like nature here. I mean, it's great here. There is, you know, the desert, there is a lot of natural things. But it's just there is less wild nature. Everything
Okay.
is more like man-made.
Yeah.
So
And then
which
shopping
is,
malls and yeah, yeah.
yeah, but anyway, so it's, I think it's important that there is this, you know, school coming up that will be really natural within this environment, because it will be like quite a, so this is like what I'm really, really excited about.
Oh, those kids are so lucky to have you.
Yeah.
That's so perfect. That sounds like a really great project and a good team to be on. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
thanks.
for
It's
the future
exciting.
generations. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Well, we'd love to, Valentina. I mean, I would love to dive deeper, but I want to give some time to the participants to ask any questions they may have.
Sure.
Um, oh, okay. Oh, I see the chat. Oh, okay. We had disabled the chat, so I think, yeah. Oh, we've got a couple questions coming in. Beautiful. Valentina, would you like to open and read them yourself, or maybe I'll, you know what, I'll read them out
Sure.
loud so other participants who are maybe like, I don't know. Well, I
Okay.
hope they're not. I hope you're not driving in your cars and listening at the same time. But I can imagine there are some people who are maybe on the go or
Yeah.
they want to hear out loud. Oh, nice. Okay. So this is from Renata. We are in the process of planning a new build using aircrete for an underground dome. Ooh, very cool. You mentioned how concrete is a barrier between earth frequencies and us. Knowing all the different processes involved in making assessments, do you have basic suggestions for concrete alternatives for foundations?
Yeah, I mean, very often it's not possible to avoid concrete.
I know, I
So,
know.
so what I recommend is that it's very important to know where the concrete is made, because of all the aggregates and all the things. They use a lot of fly ashes in concrete, which
Mm.
is highly recommended for sustainability. So, because if you use fly ashes, you are actually recycling concrete and materials from other construction sites.
Oh,
So,
so it's recommended because I didn't hear it. You meant in terms of recycling. You said
yeah,
that that's
yeah.
okay. That's a good
So that's a
point,
good point.
but
But it depends on where you are in the world. I mean, it's, fly ashes are highly toxic, because for them to be able to recycle them, they go through a process of combustion and chemicals to make them reusable. So
mm,
it's ideal if you can get a concrete that is as free as possible from fly ashes, from a, you know, aggregate perspective. And also, if you can make sure that the water that they use in the concrete is actually clean water, because there's a lot of water in concrete. And what I recommend is there are some devices that help in structuring the water, which means
mm.
making the water molecules, if you look at them at the microscope, they look pretty. They look like snowflakes, or they look like, that's when you know that the water is healthy. Um, because very often to make concrete, they use water that is not clean, because, you
Ah,
know, they're
okay.
just making
And
concrete.
that
So
holds
let's
the
just
vibration,
reuse,
right?
yeah, let's reuse whatever water we have. And So to be honest, it's not an easy thing. It depends on really where you are and where, what's available locally there. But this is the things I would look at: no fly ashes and water quality in the mix of the concrete.
Yeah. All these amazing details about and the water piece too, right? Um, this is from Elaine. How would you recommend someone who has a background in sustainable architecture begin develop begin to develop some of the skills that you have? You mentioned building biology, etc. Could you elaborate on what kind of training you did and how long it took to develop your skills? And thank you for all that you do for the earth. It is so inspiring.
Thank you. Thank you, Elaine. So building biology is a science that assesses the health effects of the built environment on humans, nature, and the environment. I studied and I'm still studying because I'm taking now another part on building completely naturally and learning all the architectural details in more depth. But it's there is a school in US, one in Canada, one in Europe, and I think one in Australia. I'm studying in US, the Building Biology Institute, because they are the best from what I could see. Then I don't know, but from what I could sense, they have the most experience when it comes to electromagnetic fields. So when you study building biology, you can also learn about electromagnetic fields. And the whole training before COVID, I used to fly there, which was amazing for the classes and for the labs and for the visiting these natural homes and learning on the site. Now they do a lot of line as well, which helps people. But that took, I think it's about in total, once you actually learn and do all the exams and all the courses, it's about a 4 years process in total. So it's like another university degree. But like any degree, then when you finish the classes and the exams and everything, you start practicing. That's when you start even learning more, because it's like anything that you study, but then you start working with it, and that's when it's so this is one, I highly recommend it because they're very good. It's a non-profit organization. And they don't work with checklist certifications. You don't get, like, your building will not get a certificate from their side. But it's truly like nature.
I think is better. I mean, all that lead and stuff. I mean, I don't mean to diss all that stuff, but I don't know.
It's great to have LEED and WELL and all of these sustainability certifications, because it forces at least manufacturers to make healthier products.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah,
or more
it's
sustainable
just I've seen
products.
it get corrupted.
Yeah.
That's all.
And then,
that's all I mean. Yeah.
Because and you're right, because it becomes commercialized. And then when I used to work for architectural firms before, I did this type of projects, and my clients, they wanted like, oh, I need to be LEED certified. So
I want gold.
So it was like a checklist, and it became like, let's put bicycle racks in outside the building in Dubai, when it's not even possible to go from your house to your office with a bicycle. It's absolutely
so hot. Yeah. So they're just trying to
highways. That's what I'm saying. It becomes a checklist, and then you do that, but is that really meaningful? No, it's just for you, client, to get your certificate so that you can market it and say, I got my LEED certification. So Building Biology is a non-profit, and they do, like, we have monthly seminars after you finish studying.
Oh, beautiful.
That you keep, 4 hours a month, where you meet with all your colleagues, professors, sharing case studies, getting updates on new products, new stuff. And, it's $100 membership every year after you have finished your classes and your courses. So it's very affordable. And that because they really want to empower people to, build with natural materials. And so yeah, that's what I hope I answered the question, Elaine. But
Yeah,
that's what
well, it
I,
sounds amazing, Elaine, and yeah, like really more power to you. Please integrate all this into your sustainable architecture practice. It is so needed, so needed. Um, we have another question. Oh, woo, we've got lots. Oh my goodness. I didn't scroll down. So, okay, woo, we got to move through. There's lots. Is there anything that's popping out for you? Well, let's keep on going.
no, I cannot see them from the chat
Oh,
I
okay.
have here. Maybe
I
I'm
think
not.
it's just there's like a few different tabs. I'll read them out.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, okay, we've got some time. We've got some time. Um, do the energies affect do the energies effects differ from body to body?
I mean, yeah, I believe that absolutely. Because each of us, we come with, a history, health history. We've been raised in different environments. We have different belief systems. It's definitely it's different how these energies affect. There are certain. So when we talk about EMF, for example, so these type of man-made frequencies, there are specific illnesses associated to a specific EMF. So there is a tendency that people will get a
Okay,
similar,
like the liver or
yeah,
yeah, the
exactly.
kidneys or
Or
yeah, okay.
also, yeah, or when it comes to idiopathic stress, also there are very similar symptoms in a house or in a body that are generally, so there are similarities, but it's never completely identical. So if I put one person in a house with certain energies, she will get or he will get similar things to another person, but not the same, not at the same time, not in the same way, in my
Yeah,
experience at least, from what I
yeah.
experienced.
There's so many layers, right? We're
Yeah.
such unique beings with such unique signature energies. So
Mm.
how it reflects and manifests in us is
Yeah.
different than in others. We've got a thank you from Roxana. Just a thank you to you both. I renovated my home 2 years ago. Apartment block wanted to use only natural materials coming only from my native country. This
Nice.
drive was very powerful, and thanks to you, I now know that there is a science behind this. Yes, Roxana, follow your intuition. And you worked with the spirit of your home. Beautiful. Keep on working with this gift of yours. Amazing. Um, oh, please spell what type of ashes are in this concrete. It's the
Oh,
fly
fly
ashes.
ashes. Yeah, fly
Fly
ashes. Yeah.
ashes.
Yeah.
Because it's not, I'm just gonna, but how do you spell fly for fly ashes?
I
I'll
will.
type it out. I'll type it out. I
So,
have it open here.
so it's
F,
FLY. I'm just checking as well because I'm not sure I remember.
I know it's like, anyway, I'm sending it. I think it's FLY.
Yes, yeah, it's like fly ashes. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, it's correct. It's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Um, we have a message here from Tufan. Thanks for the beautiful presentation. We know that there are many different types of harmful frequencies. Is there a measuring device for harmful frequencies that you can advise that you use?
I mean, there is a few instruments that measure, like for example, electromagnetic fields. There are some like home use meters that you can use for the home. They're not very accurate, so they would give you an indication if there is something above a certain limit that is not recommended. So one of them is called a tri-field, which is spelled TRI field, like field,
Yeah.
FIELD. So that's a brand that has, this is good for electric and magnetic fields. but the radio frequency, which is the frequency from the phone towers, not very accurate, but it gives you an idea. There is one which is good for radio frequency. So this tri-field, I think it's about $100 or maybe less.
Oh, okay.
But then there is one which is around $400, which is very good for radio frequencies, which is called Safe and Sound Pro 2. Literally spelled like
Okay.
Safe and
Safe and
Sound.
Sound Pro
Yeah,
Tool.
Pro 2. It's about $400 something. This is very good. But again, like, you can check, because if you're interested to have them and to check your house, the thing is that when you use them, then you will need guidance after how you can mitigate.
Yeah. It's like
Because
you're still gonna need Valentina for this work, and I'm assuming that
no, I
I'm
mean
assuming
it's because a lot
and
of
there's
my
a lot of
clients,
studies. Yeah.
yeah, a
Yeah.
lot of my clients, they buy some of these meters because they find them on Amazon, and then they turn them on and the meter starts like a red blinking and very strong sounds, and then they panic. It's like, oh my god.
We're like, oh my God, we're being attacked by EMFs. Yeah.
So that's why I'm just saying, if you get them, just be aware that you might get these, and then
The
it's
process
normal.
to,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's just the process
Okay.
you go through.
Okay. Amazing. Um, We, this is from Owen. We are a building design firm on the East Coast, US, for custom residential structures for 25 plus years. I've used many of the principles that Ms. Chereda has spoken of. We are currently designing several models of green homes, greenhouses, and thinking
Wow.
about homes that can be greenhouses. Beautiful.
Please
We
share
cannot
your
trust
details.
yeah, yeah, please connect with Valentina or myself. We'd love to grow our community and this
Yeah,
movement. We cannot trust our water, air, and soil so much anymore, and
yeah,
look to remediate those elements. Beautiful.
yeah.
Thanks,
That's
Owen. That's
amazing.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing with the water. That's that's everywhere is the same, and soil and water are very depleted, and that's why there are these new technologies that really filter the water, but they're not the standard filters. They filter the water and restructure it, enhance the energy of the water before it's used. Unfortunately, yeah, it's the same in many areas. But yeah, please, if you could connect with me or send me an email, or just to get to know more about what you're doing, it's amazing.
Yeah, amazing. Um, this question, okay, before I go to Fenike's question, just bridging what Owen was saying here, and he says he's concerned about the stratospheric aerosol injection into the atmosphere. I don't know about this. I know about the chemtrails. Is that what, I don't know if that's what you're talking about.
The stratosphere. What is it?
Stratospheric aerosol injection into the atmosphere. Have you heard of this issue, and what can we do about organizations that literally placed a reflective shield around the earth in the
Oh,
guise of combating? Yeah.
yeah. So this is already happening since a while, unfortunately, and it's. I think it's so there is one thing, like, the problem is that we live inside the earth, because we are
Oh yeah.
kind of sorry, surrounded by this, our atmosphere, the ionosphere, and everything, even not only the earth is polluted, but as you said, also the air. And there is really not much we can do about that, because that was one of my dilemmas. So, how do we improve that? Sorry. Oh my God, I finished my
I
glass
know.
of
I'm like, I'm on my last water as well. Mouth
and
is getting dry.
sorry. So I really, to be honest, I don't have a solution or a recommendation because at the moment the earth and the atmosphere is has a blanket of connections and satellites that they're now going to put also inside the sea. So not only
Yeah.
into the air, but
Into the
also
atmosphere. Yeah.
into the oceans as well. They're putting Wi-Fi connections, and so sorry, I need to
Yeah,
reach
go
the
and get it.
bottle,
Yeah.
which is there. One
Yeah,
second.
yeah, go, go. I mean, Owen, if you have any ideas, we'd love to know. I mean, on an energetic, spiritual level, I have ideas. A lot of people are working energetically in terms of doing prayer and group work and alchemy. And, there's many ways people are working with,
Yeah.
well, I think Gaia is also, she knows what she's doing in her big transformation. And many volcanoes will erupt, many floods will happen. This is all part of her transformation, and they're as scary and horrible as it all is. um, I think there's not much way of getting around it unless yeah for me, that I'm just sharing my take on it, is that it's really about how we go within and shine our light and increase our vibration frequency through our hearts and through um I know it might just sound like, well, we need some practical solutions, but it's the immensity of it is, it's so huge. It's so
Yeah.
huge. And I didn't hear that, Valentina, it was new to me about the oceans. And in my
Mhm.
recent visions, I've been getting a lot of ocean visions these days. And yeah,
Yeah, yeah, they're just bringing all the connections there as well because everything is becoming digital and connected. So even down in the oceans, it's been
yeah.
implemented.
Owen, let's start the conversation, and we're very interested in what you feel and what you think is a possible pathway. Um, Thanks, Elaine. Thank you. Wonderful. So we do have to wrap up, but I am, amazing. We've got lots of, okay, a few more questions I'm going to take. Um, I know a lot of you have just, you've particularly joined live to be here. Valentina, I hope you're good with your time.
Yeah, yeah, of course,
Okay,
no
good.
problem.
Okay, we'll do 5 more minutes. Um, I'm curious to find out about how new technologies are butting up against aligning with zoning laws in different places. Where is a good place to build? Beautiful question. Beautiful
Yeah,
question. Love this. Yeah, it's such a
so
good one.
where is a good place to build?
Yeah, where is a good place to build? It's such a good question. I mean, for me, what it comes up is the whole notion of planning, right? The Department of Planning, planning design, planning our cities, planning our houses, planning our communities. We're seeing so many, gas lines that are being laid across indigenous communities, land, sacred land, buildings that are being built over sacred temples, or, right? Like that's one example, or, close to some kind of some really powerful vortex, natural phenomenon. I mean, this is where I'm taking it. Um,
Yeah, I mean, I would say the same is the only way is to whatever is built new and needs to be really done in a very, very conscious way because now there's so much areas that are built,
yeah, that's
and
so
there is
true
not much.
too. I
I
know.
mean, it's yeah, I think I
Depends
would say
on
the
depends
same.
on where you're living, right? Yeah. It's
Yeah,
a brilliant question though. And I think it's really important to be renewing these old systems, right? Like where I
yeah,
studied and worked for many years in Canada, the building code is so archaic in so many ways. The building code and the zoning bylaws, really have like they're just a bunch of planners in the offices drawing up plans, and they have no clue about the energetics of place. Yeah,
Yeah.
brilliant question. All right, Owen, wonderful. Yeah, let's continue the conversation about chemtrails. And yes, I think Christy has sent you Valentina's contact information so you guys can continue the conversation. Um, oh, could we get a list of architects and contractors like Owen who are interested in these issues and are working to create healthier buildings? Well, I'm not sure about sending out a list, but Valentina is one, I'm one, Owen is one, so you've got three on your list. It is a good question. I love that, and what I hear from your question is that there is a need to create some kind of a network
Yeah.
that and I'm answering your question, Valentina. Maybe you already do have
Yeah.
access to a link that you can send. Yeah.
I do know, like, for example, in US, I know an architect and builder, but I think they are on the West Coast.
Yeah.
They're called Econest.
Yeah.
And she's one of my teachers, for example, in the Building
Economist.
Biology Institute.
There's also,
Um,
I'm sending, yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
and then there is an amazing architect and company in Italy called Rice House. So Rice House, they do buildings, materials from the leftovers of rice agriculture. So they do the mix with the
Oh, rice house, like what we
yeah,
eat, rice.
yeah,
Okay,
right.
I'm writing that down.
That's in
Rice house.
Italy. So I think, yeah, we'll need to, these are the two first that comes up in my mind in different countries. I think every country will surely have a few.
Yeah. Hey, and Christine too is an architect. She's just sent her email, and she says that they're working towards this for every project as well. So I hope, Heather, that's helpful for you. I did send the Natural Building Coalition in Canada. They are more builders, but there are some architects there as well. So I hope that was helpful.
Oh, I can see another question.
Yeah, amazing. Well, let's wrap this up. We've gone quite a bit over, but I'm so thrilled and delighted that you got tons of questions, and I hope that this was all helpful for you. And I am so appreciating your presence here in this circle, Valentina, and it was such an enriching talk. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you so much for having me. And yeah, it feels really good to have that you are creating a community of people and architects and really just people that want to change how things are done in architecture and construction. And so it's great you're doing that. So thank you. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thank you to you too. Thank you. I take that in. Before you go, Valentina, I just want to say goodbye to all the participants. Thank you so much for joining. And tomorrow, don't forget, we've got Alosha Linov, who is, he's amazing. He's working with um, building eco homes, earth ships, bioarchitecture, and he's the one who's down on the ground doing all the experimenting and the building, and he's getting his hands dirty, with the permaculture and figuring out how to recycle the water and all the systems. Do not miss this. It's a one of a kind opportunity. Join us live tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern, and we look forward to seeing you there. So bye for now and see you tomorrow. Bye bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you,
Bye.
Valentina, again. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.